And so then I came over with an uncle who I really didn't like. So uh, it was a scary move because I didn't know they were my parents.
Samir and I have been friends for, I don't even know. It's been about a decade, give or
Yeah,
take.
maybe over a decade. Yeah.
And coincidentally, we were technically at Georgia Tech at the same time. He was finishing much more advanced stuff than I was. While I was trying to get the hell out of Georgia Tech as quickly as possible with my startups, Samir was finishing his PhD in chemical engineering, which is, I think is it the top ranked program in the world or very close to it?
It is much higher now. I think it's the third.
But I think this conversation, honestly, for the organization, especially those of you who are in analytics, in any of the technology development of the organization, we're going to be going through how to think about experiments, which I think is actually part of our value system. So PEACH is our values acronym, and the E is for experimentation and execution. So it is a core value within the organization of how to think about experiments. And your whole life really is figuring out how to make experiments productive to create certain types of outcomes from that standpoint. And there's a lot to cover, and we don't have a lot of time. But I think what's actually always, for me, more important than just the endpoints is actually how we got there. So tell us a little bit about your background, where you're born and raised, and what got you to Georgia Tech.
Sure. Yeah. So I was born in India, in Gujarat, and my parents actually came to the U.S. before I did. So they left me with my grandparents, and they moved to California. After a few years, they felt like, okay, we're gonna stay here. And then I came over with an uncle who I really didn't like. So uh, it was a scary move because I didn't know they were my parents. My parents to me were always my grandparents. But so it took some adjustment. But I grew up in Northern California. I eventually figured out I wanted to be an engineer. I thought I wanted to be a computer engineer because it was Silicon Valley. We were close to that. It was late '90s, and so I just did the default. And so I took my first programming class, and I realized I can't do this. I can't keep up with the other folks that were there. And I found my real interest was in chemistry. My dad was a chemistry teacher, so it was easy to shift to chemical engineering, which is what I started doing. Still not certain about what I was going to do within chemical engineering. I didn't think I even really knew what a chemical engineer was, but it was the right choice. And at Berkeley, where I was at, I eventually did a co-op to try to figure out what I wanted to do, and I worked for a subsidiary of J&J, and they did something called drug delivery, which was essentially how do you deliver drugs to the body more effectively to get the outcome that you wanted. And I really liked it. So once I finished my co-op, they gave me a job offer, which was like more money than I could have thought about. My parents were like, "This is what we trained you for, take the job." So I took the job, but in the back of my mind, I still felt like I wanted to do research. I wanted to go further. And the people there sort of indicated that for me at the company, which was, anybody that was there maybe 10 years or more had hit a wall. You either went in on the business side, got an MBA, or you hit a wall because at those kinds of companies, you can't really get very far without an advanced degree. And it was owned by J&J at the time, and so it was heavy bureaucracy. So I realized the best way was to get out, get an advanced degree, since I knew what I liked, and that's how I ended up Georgia Tech. I just called because I'd already applied, and it was already halfway through the application season or whatever, so I couldn't apply again the following year without waiting an extra year. I called, I talked to the graduate admissions professor there, and 10-15 minute call, and he said, "You know what? I can fit you in. We have one still open slot. If you accept within 48 hours, you can get in." And that's how I ended up at Georgia Tech.